was too naive, I guess, because I was told that not to do children, animals, water, crowds, period for my first feature. But you know, you have this fire to tell certain stories, and I think the passion or the obsession to tell this story was too strong to even, you know, consider such realities. Now that doesn't mean that I made what I did, it was a mistake or right. I think every film has its own journey, and I think there are so many rules people tell you about what to do and not to do, and I don't believe they exist. They shouldn't exist. I think every film has its own way, has its own life, has its own journey, and generally everything that I did for this film I felt is just the correct thing to do for this film. No, it was an uphill battle, and you know, we couldn't take this co-production European path because Iraq at the time didn't have any co-production agreement. So we really had to go through institutional grants and private equity. I was lucky because I got the script into the Sundance Lab, and there I met Eric Roth and Mariel Heller, who were my mentors, and they loved the script that they offered to join the film as a, you know, to support as EPs, to lend their names in a way also because it's as you said, it's an Iraqi feature, so getting money wouldn't be easy. They also knew about that. And then we had the opportunity to pitch the project to multiple investors, and it wasn't easy because when you tell them, oh, it's going to be a shoot in Iraq, it's going to be with non-actors, it's going to be with children, it's going to be this. So it really repels everyone almost and keeps just few ones who could be interested in taking a risk and sort of a leap of faith. I learned cinema. I fell in love with cinema through VHS tapes. In the time I was growing up, the theaters were all closed in Baghdad. So I was smuggling VHS tapes for some relatives who would ask me to go to a place to pick up a VHS tape or something. And one day I had a VHS tape in our house, and I was curious enough to see what it had. And we had this 18-inch TV and a VHS player, and when everyone went to sleep, I put it on, and suddenly another world just appeared in front of me. Unfortunately, I never had the theatrical experience and experience the beam of light coming into the dark room, but nevertheless, I discovered so many stories from different worlds, especially at the time Iraq was so isolated from the world. So it was, but like, interesting thing, the films were curated in a very different way because I was watching Godzilla, Bruce Lee, then Tarkovsky, Kurosawa, then Mizoguchi, then, you know, all these random choices somehow introduced me to this world. And at that time I just understood I love watching films. I didn't know I liked making films. Doubts and panics always. Doubts and panics all the time. And you had to adapt to so many things because we were shooting with non-actors, we were shooting on real locations, and we had to improvise sometimes and understand how can we be more efficient. Yeah, it was very enjoyable, even torturous for some people, but for me it was enjoyable. I think the shooting part, and then the shooting part was making me happy. Because you suddenly see everything in front of you being visualized. It was a bit dangerous because it's triggering for people to see Saddam's images again, hear his name. But I think what was helping is to explain and make it and announce that we are shooting a film and that it's just a period we're trying to recreate. And that a bit took down everyone, you know, pressure. Yeah, I do. Because I think I grew up on films that were rooted in reality, but took a leap of faith and somehow show you something else. For example, I remember in the film Bergman's film, I forgot. There is a moment of magic happening in his film. And Alexander, the kids are in the box, hiding in a box. Then suddenly a light comes, and then they're not anymore in the box, and it's just such a like leap of faith. And I'm like, that's something, you know, I think only cinema can provide you with. And I think I'm intrigued by it, but I don't know if I can make it in every film. But it's something I very much intrigued by. Yes, and I think because very vast, the landscape is very vast, especially in the places that we are shooting, is very like vast. There's no mountains, there's no heights, and we felt like having that kind of frame and aspect ratio was this one to tell our stories through. I would say maybe I'm sometimes interested in the reflection of things. It's like sometimes I'm more intrigued to see the shadow, not to see the person. And I think this is something really I think Bresson was doing it. Mizoguchi was also doing it a lot. And somehow I felt to be very, very impactful. Sometimes, like, you know, in L'Argent, when he kills the woman, we see the wall and the blood splashing on the wall. Very minimalist, but like the thing is, like, we see the killing happening on the wall. We don't see it. So those kind of choices, it's like to show you something reflecting what's happening, not the real thing. So that's something I think from Mizoguchi. I remember in one of his films, Life O'Hara, I think. And when she is ashamed about something, he blocks her behind the curtain. And I was like, wow, like this just gives another layer instead of like, you know. I thought about it during the editing. And you know, I had an ending. There was another shot for that ending. But somehow it fit, but it didn't feel correct. Then I put this shot and you just feel, you know, how would I describe it? I think he's a very insecure man with a fragile masculinity. So the casting process was interesting. We found the boy, the first one. He was the first member to cast. And the girl was the last person to cast. And we cast her a few weeks before the shoot. And I received this 30 seconds video of her saying her name and school, and I immediately felt that she is the one to carry this film. Her parents were not, in the beginning they were not supporting this to have their daughter in the film. Oh my God. One of the best memories ever you can have. First because there were so many good films, first features there, and second of all because of the legacy that it holds and all the masters who received that. Third is the first Iraqi film to be even receiving such a great honor. But it puts a lot of responsibility, it puts a lot of pressure, but at the same time it opens so many doors, not only for me, even for people from Iraq. And suddenly it introduces the country in a different way. And so the benefit of it, I think, is it's not just momentary, you know, for one day or two when people know about the film. I think it will be continuing for a couple, you know, for the years to come.